Good morning, everybody. This is Joe on the Okie Woodsman channel. I am getting ready to cut again today. Yesterday I shot a video. We went out, it was about 7 degrees or so, 5 to 7 degrees. Very windy, it was in the negatives for the wind chill. I've kind of lost count already. This has no primer bulb. One of those times you hope what you're doing doesn't crack off. The weather changes I don't want to have to do. And my boys and I cleaned up some brush for a neighbor. And today, well, let's just put it this way. I have determined that I want to set up these 3 saws differently than I have them. In fact, I think I might even leave them in this kind of configuration most often. And let me describe what that is. Throughout the last year, I've gotten a lot of comments about people say, hey, this is the size bar you should run on the saw. And I have disregarded many of those comments because it's not about whether or not the saw can handle it, but what I am going to say is some of those comments are actually, I'm going to actually take what they've said to an extent and implement them. And the reason why is I have 3 excellent saws and I don't need overlap in them doing the same exact task. So I'll give you my train of thought here. On my 545, I have always run a 20-inch bar on it. With the exception of sometimes I'll run this Holz Forma 18, but it is for all intensive purposes essentially an 18-inch, I'm sorry, a 20-inch bar itself. What I'm doing is I actually have another Husqvarna 18-inch bar in 325 that I actually acquired on another saw that you guys have never seen before. Anyway, it came with a pretty well new bar and chain right here. I think it's good. Yeah, it looks straight. Yeah, it's straight. So I'm going to go to an 18-inch bar on my Husqvarna 545. And it's not that the saw can't handle the 20. I quite like cutting with the 20. But the difference is I'm kind of after a weight difference, a weight change. And then the other difference I'm going to do is on my 562, I'm going to be changing the bar on that as well. I have historically run a 24 or a 28 on there. Well, I've also got that ported 620. And man, there's an overlap, right? They kind of perform really similar, especially now that the Echo has been ported. The chain that I got for this 18-inch bar is actually a full chisel. So this is going to be the first time I run a full chisel on this 545. This is a little bit dirty from yesterday. I'm just going to do the minimum here to get this on because I need to get out and cutting today. This is not going to be a saw maintenance day. Boy, when it's cold like this, everything is gummy, guys. Everything is gummy. We are clean. Oh man, that bar is nice and light. I can tell you that right now. Just that couple inches makes a difference. Hopefully this chain fits. Again, I did not buy this setup. It came on another saw. I noticed that it might work, and we're going to roll with it. Cool. Let me tell you what's inspiring this. I'd say for me, because I don't cut every day, I'm not the strongest of gentlemen, I'd say that fatigue is the biggest enemy of my enjoyment of cutting, right? And it's not because I don't want to get tired, it's just that I do get tired. And so because of that, I'm trying to battle, or I'm trying to make the smartest decision with how I want to configure the saws. Now again, your cutting style is going to determine this. For me, I made a comment on a video last night. Somebody was saying, you know, you got to run, you know, they run like a 20 or something on their 562, and that's excellent. I mean, that's great. If you're cutting in an environment where that makes total sense all the time, that's great. And I think they said they use a 24 on their 572. Well, when I'm cutting my pine trees, and I don't do that very often, but if I'm going to go ahead and just do a bunch of that kind of cutting, I'm probably going to run a longer bar. But man, when I'm doing these treetop cleanups out of a hardwood tree, guys, I got to be bluntly honest with you. There is, I'd say, little to no advantage to running that longer bar because it's a different environment. Nothing's down at your feet. Everything is up off the ground, and I'm not a very tall guy. There's no reason for me to be running a longer bar on everything. So we're gonna go ahead and give this a shot. This might be really nice on here. Anyway, when you're cutting just the treetops, there's a lot of cuts at varying angles, and there's no sense in having that longer bar on everything. Just help me be more comfortable for longer. Enjoy cutting, cut more safely. Now what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to go ahead and run a 20 on my 562. Let me explain why. The suspension on the 562 is pretty floppy with that 28, okay, standard 28. It's very floppy actually. Also, that saw is really compact. It really feels very similar to this 545. It really does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 20 on there because for all intensive purposes, it should just cut like a faster 545 or 550. And that'll be welcome. I'm going to use this more or less to limb and to do other little smaller tasks. But this is a killer saw for that purpose, right? All right, very good. Let me show you here on this 562 what I'm talking about. This is currently outfitted with a 28-inch bar. It's very nose heavy. This thing is very floppy. I feel like the suspension is like bottomed out pretty much the whole time. Like, I mean, it's not bottomed out. It definitely has some wiggle, but it feels very, very heavy on, you know, you can just feel the handle and the power head and the engine moving very, very independently, leaning forward. So I'm going to throw a 20 on here, and then my ported Echo. Not that it's insanely more powerful than the 562, but what it is it's larger, and I'm not going to be limbing with that saw anyway. So why not run a longer bar on it and stand up and buck? So a 27 is going on my Echo, a 20 is going on my 562, an 18 is going on here. And I really kind of want to get a 20-inch light bar or maybe a 24-inch light bar on that 562. I'm thinking that's where I want to end up. Honestly, maybe even 20. Like one of those Oregon ones. I think it's like a VersaCut bar or whatever. But at some point, I've been thinking about what bars would I want to invest in. And that's where I'm kind of thinking. So this is going to be a test today. I'm going to run those Husqvarna bars. Guys, I don't like the Husqvarna bars. I just don't like them. They wear really badly. In fact, when I pull off that 28, we'll take a look at it. Let's look at this 20. See how this thing looks. Okay, so there's wear as to be expected, but it's a divot. Okay, it's just a divot. It's not chipping out. I'm gonna grab a 24-inch and I'm gonna show you the difference. I have a 24-inch Husqvarna, and this is mind-blowing. I have a couple of them. They all are doing the same exact thing. So I don't have to show you multiples. And these are pretty new. You're not gonna be able to see it on camera. And this one's actually not too bad right now, to be honest with you. There's right in here, there's a chip, there's a divot, but it more or less starts to flake. This is not an excellent example. I'll try to show you here on this 20. I'm pretty sure that one's doing it pretty good. We're getting ready to go out as a family and go cut some more today. We're gonna burn too, because there's not as much, there's like a 7-mile-an-hour wind. Yesterday there was gusts up to like 20, and it was a little bit, a little scary when I lit that one pile on fire. I didn't like it. Today we're gonna have probably 2 piles burning. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'm just going off of my old experience on these Husqvarna bars, but I'm pretty sure that it has been doing a similar thing. Yes, this is drastic. And I've been flipping my bars, everybody. You'll notice that in my videos. This has been run on my 562. It's been run on the 620. Let's see if there's a way you can see this. Can you see that in here, everybody? It's like blowing out. It's rough. It's very, very, very rough. Okay. This side is a little less bad. Apparently, maybe I've run it a little bit more on this side. But really, there's very little time on this bar. Far more time on this bar, the Husqvarna bar. Okay. This is a 325 050. This is a 3/8 058, because that's what I bought originally for my 372 clones. I had a lot of these bars. I bought, I think, like 6 of them at the time. That's why you see them all the time, because I've had a lot of them. Anyway, this is going to end up going on the 562. I will flip it also, and we're going to run this. Somebody recently had a question on whether or not the 27-inch bar on the Echo was 27 or was it closer to 28. Well, I'm going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to take off. I'm going to run the Husky bar if I can. This is going to be the first time I put the Husky bar on this 620. So I'm going to set this down. Got my adapters on there. Here we are. Let me pop this on. This saw a little bit of use yesterday. I had to grind it in the field because I hit a little bit of rocks. There's dirty firewood. Okay, so here we are. Got the Husqvarna bar. Throw this off here. So this is a 93 drive length C83 that came with my Husky. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe this down. Boy, in the cold, this oil is sticky. Sticky, sticky, sticky. You know what? I was gonna mount this on my bar on that saw. No, I'll mount it, it'll be fine. I was gonna say, I don't like how small the oiling holes are on these Huskies. They're very small. And also that, on the Oregon one too, it's the same actually. I hate how small these are because you can't just stick a screwdriver in there and call it good. You gotta have something small to poke it, and I don't like that. Again, I don't have compressed air out here because I'm running this off of a light gauge extension cord. I have basically LED lights in here, and that's about it. All right, so Husky 28 versus Echo 27. Well, that's interesting. I don't know if you could see that. Husky 28 versus Echo 27. Oh gosh darn, which one's longer? The Echo 27 is longer than the Husky 28. Now, you'll notice the slots are a little bit different. I mean, by rights, if you put this up more, yeah. The Echo is longer. The Echo pattern is longer. I'm going to throw the Husky bar onto the Echo. That's what we're going to run today. I've got my adapters on there already. I'm going to leave this here. I assume my oiling is going to work well. This will be a good test. I'm going to run the C83, the one that was spec'd for my 562. That's nice on there. Running a 28-inch Husky bar on my Echo 620. And I'll show you here what we've got for adapters. These were made by Super Dave when he ported my saw. Basically some tubing, if I remember right, 9mm outside diameter, 8mm inside. What you're doing is you're increasing the bar stud diameter by 1mm, if I recall correctly. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Look into the comment section on this. But this is all it takes to be able to center properly a Husky large mount. I've done it differently in the past, but this is cleaner. It's a lot easier. I bent some sheet metal and it worked well, but this is better. So that's what I run now. Thank you, Dave. All right, now let's see if the chain fits. That was on my 562. Remember I said I was gonna mount a 28 on here because this saw is a little too large for me to limb with, in my opinion. And why not just run the larger bar on this and the shorter bar on my 562? It's a more compact saw. All right, here. So we've got room on the studs, no problem. There's distance front to back. You'll see here I have adjustability still. I'm getting closer to the end, but I have adjustability. Okay, so now when I put my adjuster on there, assuming that my adjuster has enough length on it, which I think it will, let's see what happens. This might answer some questions for some people wondering whether or not they want to get one of these 620s, because there's a lot of interest around them because of their cost and their capability. All right, so here we are. Now, of course, you could also do a steel bar on here. I don't know if there's any special grinding. Someone might comment in there on that, but you could do a steel bar with a larger adapter there, another millimeter larger if I recall correctly. I do have a 28-inch steel here. I have to get to working though. I can't just sit here and play on this, so that's why we're not going to touch that. The full wrap handle definitely gets in the way of putting on nuts and stuff, guys. It does. Boy, this grease is, everything is thick right now. Don't want to move hardly. But it feels smooth. There we go. Let's go ahead and give her the front lean and get that bar on there, get that chain a little tighter. There we go. Let's give her a crank. Let's see if we are good here. All right, so I like that. This is how we're going to run her today. We're going to make sure she gets oil. I'll probably bring my other bar and chain just in case it's not working right, but I don't think there'll be a problem. Okay, so here's a Husky large mount on a 620. No difference in the tooth length or anything like that. In fact, if anything, this is a shorter bar than the 27 that came on this saw. So I'm going to go fill this one up now. This took a lot of fuel. It was empty. Wow, very empty. Everything's slower in the cold. Everything's slower. But I'm not spilling my bar oil. How about that? That's pretty handy. Some of you might be wondering why I'm not running my 660. Well, the honest truth is with this cold, it's already hard to start. It's not anything that the builder did. It's just the displacement, the porting, it's not the porting's fault. It's the compression. And also, guys, with the cold, I do not want to break the starter assembly. I don't know if it would hold up to 22, I'm sorry, I don't know, I think we're like 10 degrees right now or something. Stuff's been sitting overnight in sub-freezing, sub-zero weather. Well, I don't know if it's sub-zero. If it was around 2, I guess that's not quite sub-zero. So go ahead and throw this Husky large mount 20-inch bar on here. Dental pick here to get this cleaned out. Something, do not forget to clean those, everybody, because you will not get oil. Turning up the oil doesn't help. The oil doesn't have enough pressure to blow it out. I don't know if you've experienced that, but that's what I've experienced. I kind of thought, oh, I bet you the oil just pushed that through. That's not the case. You know what? I feel like these bar grooves are deeper than they ought to be. I wonder if maybe that's why the bars, I wonder if they don't oil as well because their grooves are maybe, I don't know. I wonder, it'd be interesting to go in there and measure the depth of these grooves to see if they're deeper than like a factory Oregon or Oregon or Husqvarna bar. That'd be very interesting. I should do that sometime. See if the bar grooves are deeper, which means that would keep the oil away from the actual drivers, which means the oil would move around less effectively, I would think. Yeah, we'll just do a light touch-up with that grinder. I think the chain looks good. I think my wife's home too, which means she's going to be looking to go here soon because she's going to be helping out today, I believe, assuming plans haven't changed. That's why I'm not running the 660, everybody, because I do not want to break it. I do not want to deal with starting it. It's not that the saw, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that I just don't have the desire or the need, really. I don't have the need. This wood isn't big enough to run that. No reason to bring a saw like that today. I've got a couple pieces that I'll buck, but I mean nothing warranting a ported 90. Just, that's all it's to it. Did I do the same thing with my chain? I did, I think. Before I tighten stuff up, I need to make sure things are not bound up as I go better. I'm going to go ahead and end this part here because I need to get to cutting, preserve some battery life on my phone.